what you guys are both looking forward to the most this season?
I mean, I'm so excited.
The
vibe seems so good.
Yeah.
And this new situation seems, I don't know. I'm curious to hear how you feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to know if Mr. Milchick still has both eyes. Heliar and Marquez, I don't know how they're ever going to be an Audi. I don't know how the Audi's going to accept that one if they ever get there. And where the hell is Irving? So I'm excited for the next season. I'm excited for the next season. We're talking about different. Oh, you're talking about the basketball season.
I just said season.
You did. That's what I'm just. You asked me. You didn't ask me too specific. Oh, the Knicks season together. That shit would be all right. That'd be cool.
Please focus on the Knicks.
You know, it's weird for me. In the summer, I'm usually way down in weight, and I kind of put weight on for the season.
Okay.
So it was kind of like fair enough that this year, new coaching staff and not truly understanding what I'm going to be, if I'm going to be a 4 or 5, am I going to be, last year was kind of different. Mitch was hurt. When I got here, I already understood that my job for most of the year would be the 5.
Right.
And then I could adjust as the season progresses. But this year was kind of different. I just knew I had to be more like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Now, good thing I did, because we're having me play like 1 through 5.
How did that process change with you over the years in terms of, because it does feel counterintuitive that you're bulking up for the season rather than having to slip down.
I mean, it's just different. I mean, that's just how my body is. My body, when I play basketball, it reacts. It always reacts to what the demands are. Inflammation, and understands it just tries to protect me, put some armor on, I always call. So I always put the weight on because my body reacts to me knowing I'm about to play basketball and I want to keep healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a year too with Thibs where I came in and I was like, he told me, you're going to be a power forward. We really want you lean and skinny for the thing. So for the season, and I came in at like 230, and it was like, I was really scared. And I'm glad that happened though, because I actually learned you could do too much.
Right.
And losing weight.
Right.
And I just didn't feel like the same player.
Well, I think about that for athletes because, for regular people, when you lose weight, whatever, you want to be healthy, maybe vanity, whatever it is, like all the different things. But then to have to operate physically on a level where you're guarding, the biggest guys in the league.
I mean, Jokic is 295,
right? And he's not slimming down.
Yeah, Embiid's like 295, 292. So it's like, you got guys like that,
and then the energy level too, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times it comes down to who really was working in the off season, and I feel when you talk about those guys, and myself, I feel like those are guys walking in, they've put the work in, and they're ready for whatever the minutes are. Like, shout out to Thibs. When I was playing with him, I was always happy. He was kind of taking into account our bodies, and also for me, I actually was the one trying to push him for more minutes because I'm different. I prepared for long stretches of minutes. I train a certain way and work out a certain way where, at any time if he needed me to play.
Feels like
46.
It feels like you guys got a couple guys who are just wired a little differently in this regard. You got people who are like, there's all this outside noise about minutes and everything, and then you talk to the people on the team, and they're like, "What do you think we want to do?"
Nah, it was definitely different for me. I have been, even with me playing with him in Minnesota, I've always talked about I love the amount of minutes I was getting to play, because you get to go, you go into work. If we're gonna work, let's work.
Right.
And top two, I like being in control of my destiny. So it's always good that when you get more minutes, you get to control more of what's happening, and the game will kind of play itself out for you.
And like a rhythm when you're out there too, I'd imagine like it must be tough to have to come in as a guy who doesn't play a lot. Those guys who have to come in and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, I feel like that it's tough for them.
Flow.
It's tough for them. I could imagine, because if you're not, you have a good warm up, everything's going, the energy's crazy, and then you're sitting waiting for your opportunity, and it finally comes. And you only really got 2 minutes to make something happen at 3 minutes. I know it could be tough for them, but I give, our teammates, that I've been fortunate to play with, especially last year, talking with us right now, us three, those guys, they always came in ready to play. And that's true professionalism because, that's a very, very tough job.
Yeah. They have to perform and show. I mean, there is an analogy to that, I think, like in just acting in a movie, which is the same thing. You get into a rhythm. If you're a lead in a movie, you're working every day. It's not even a question. You come in maybe the first day, hopefully you're a little nervous the first day.
It means you care.
Yeah. But then you get into your flow and, a day or 2, 3 in, you're like, okay, we're doing it. And it's much harder for an actor who comes in, who has like one scene in a movie, auditions for the part and has to show up and they don't know anybody in the crew. They don't know the other actors necessarily. And it's that thing where they have to just like relax. And that for me is like the key. Like it took me a long time to learn how to be able to relax, in a working environment enough as an actor. And I still deal with it all the time, but that's like one of the most important things, like to just not be in your head and to be in the flow of what's going on. And it's really hard sometimes when you don't have that, just like with the pressure of knowing like, I'm just going to have this one day or this one scene.
I feel like the way he even said it is perfect because I had to learn that when I was younger. When I was in Minnesota, I remember I would be playing and, I feel like I'm doing well and stuff. Maybe I miss a shot or two and I'm like, man, I don't understand why I'm missing that shot. The game keeps playing itself out. And then KG would be like, man, Lord, he always says, Lord, you gotta lower your shoulders. I'm like, what's going on? What you mean? He goes, man, your shoulders is at your ears. And maybe you make a shot or two, whatever, but you're not relaxed. Like, just relax. You already put the work in. You better than everybody. Just like relax. Right. So I always, it's funny. I even brought that up to Mo in Abu Dhabi because, a rookie Mo. And I'm just like, man, I've seen you work. You're so talented. You got such a bright future. You don't need to be feeling pressured. Like you in the best situation possible. You a rookie. You get all the get out of jail cards when you're a rookie. Oh, he's young. He doesn't know better. So I was like, why be so stressed? Go out there, have a bunch of fun, work on your game, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what things you got to work on and stuff like that. And just lower your shoulders, just breathe and have a good time. And even for me to this day, I still always remember that piece of advice from KG because there's moments even for me where, very rarely now after 11 years of experience going, that I let something rush me or speed me up. So I always try to stay at my pace. Is
that hard to do though when everything's going on in the game and so many different things happening?
It is a hard thing to deal with less experience. Right. For 11 years, I've been doing this and I'm blessed to go into my 11th year, but the game has slowed down so much that even now it slows down even more and it feels kind of like a crawl pace. It's just really seeing the game and just knowing what I want to do, where I want to get to. I mean, Bernard King was a master, Knicks legend about getting to his spot. JB's a master at getting to his spot. Right. I know what I like to do on the court, but just you kind of experience teaches you so much. I feel like you even for you, it's like, when you have experience, it's not about that you do things faster or more explosive or whatever the case may be. For my sports that way, right. You just learn how to do the same exact result with way less effort.
One question for both of you to this point, you both, number 1 overall pick, so much success in high school, so much success in college, go right to the pinnacle of the league right away. We could spend 5 hours running through Ben's early resume, which maybe we can do later. But basically,
I was not the number 1 pick.
But Ben Stiller's show at 26 is so. You guys both had a lot of success early, but then you have, as anyone does, you have down moments. You have moments after that success where something doesn't work, something flops, or it might work from sort of the outside looking in, but you feel like it doesn't work. So, especially when you were younger, how did you figure out how to manage those things, both sort of internally and externally?
I think that's a great question. It really is.
I feel like with ball players, it seems like the clock is so different. You have to be so good at a young age to know that you're going to be able to get to that next level. And in my world, it's open-ended. You could be I worked with actors who didn't become successful till they were in their 40s, and then they were really successful. So, but that you're always for me, it was always putting that pressure on myself that I wanted to do well, and I wanted to, I really wanted to be an actor and to be a director, and you have to convince people to let you do it. And I was not good when I started. When I joke about like not being number one, like I was not really great when I started, and it took me time. And when I finally got success, when I was like 26, 27, that's still, I'd been doing it for about 8 or 9 years, and so it was kind of like, it wasn't like sudden success. It was gradual. And it also kind of came in different like levels to me. Like at first I started working as an actor, and then I started working as a director, and I directed a couple movies. But then I did a movie that a lot of people went to that changed, how people approached me as an actor and opened up a lot. But by that time I was like 30 something. Yeah. So I think I'd had time to adjust. But I always wonder, because, in your world, 17, 18 years old, you're already
you're telling the world when you're going into the NBA draft that I'm a grown man and I'm ready for this job. And that's a declaration you're making when you enter the NBA draft. And for me, you talk about the pressures of everything and stuff. And I've always said since day one, my biggest critic has been myself, because I'm always wanting better. Even when I've done something, and I've been very fortunate by God to do things that have never been done before, the historical feats, the games that have happened. And I look at those games, even the ones when I had 60, 62, 56, I wish I could get back those 3 shots, those 2 shots that I missed, and wish I would have made them, or, that one steal block, whatever the case may be. And never being satisfied has pushed me to obviously be at this point in my career and life, and it's great. I think the best way I've learned to deal with pressure is when you first come into the NBA, basketball is everything. And I want no one to take this wrong, but, life has continued to teach me new things and experience. I just realized that it wasn't everything. And I do have a life, and I am someone outside of that court. And life has taught me the small lessons of that, then taught me some big lessons in that with my mom. So I just kind of, dealing with the pressure has been so much different now, because, I want to be the greatest at what I do. I want to be the best. That's been the mission since day one. I want to win rings, and I want to have a tremendous amount of success. But I do understand that when I leave that court, that it is not everything in my life, and that has lowered the pressure of dealing with this job tremendously, because there's things outside of life, and that's not even with me adding kids yet in my life.
Right. I mean, that's a huge thing. And it's funny because you do almost like you say, you have to preface it by like, don't take this the wrong way to the fan. Yeah. Because fans have it is everything. All they see is, their players as their players on the team that are, that they want to win. But like how you actually are able to do what you do. And what I mean by that is like to go on a court in front of, 10,000 people or whatever and do that, hit a free throw, let alone anything else, right? Is like how you get to the, to that place in your head to be able to do that means you have to have a sense of yourself that you can figure out how to navigate it, which is, like understanding that there's other things in life, because if that's everything,
there's
and then
too much eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
there's just too many eggs in one basket. And I learned that the hard way. So I had to take a step back. I did that after my mom, and just be like, really, was this really, as any person who goes through tragedy understands, you take a step back and say, was it really all worth it at the end? The max contracts and all this and that and this, and people say, oh, that means you're so successful. And I feel like I didn't feel that successful in those moments. And you realize that there's so much more than just put in that basket and that hoop. And when I take that step back, it just opened my eyes to such a different world. And a different appreciation for basketball for real. And like, just, I've always been that joyous, smiling guy that fans knew and basketball fans knew. And the passion turned into a realization that it could really be taken away. I think in those moments, that's when I lost my last piece of being a kid.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, you feel invincible to everything and nothing could hurt you.
Right.
That was when I lost it. And when I lost that, it became an actual appreciation for what I do instead of a kind of an everyday thing I am. Instead of it becoming who I am, it became what I do.
Right.
And that was a big moment, and that was a moment that changed the pressure. It changed the opinion of what I do, and also it made it more fun though.
It's interesting because there's certain players that mindset might not lead to them being more better.
Yes. I mean, but I give everything I have to what I do because I love what I do. I love playing basketball. I love the competition more than the basketball. I love competition, and in what way? I love the work. I love the journey of getting ready for a season. I love the hours put in. I love feeling that I'm competing against someone before the game even starts. Right. Maybe they get to the gym at 8 and I'm there at 7:30. I've won the day.
Right.
Maybe I made a shot or two in practice more than them that they didn't make in their practice. I have no idea what the stats are, but in my mind, I'm playing this mental game with this person. And every day I make sure I walk out feeling a winner against that person before the game happens. So by the time I get to the game at 7:30 at MSG, I've already won. I'm now just getting to show you how I won.
That's just so interesting because it's like how you can get to that place where when it is 7:30 and all the people are there, if you were just kind of putting it all on that, of course, like anybody would freeze up and be like, oh my God, how do I do this? But you have to it's
a true inner belief that I've already won the game. I've already won my matchup. So I know I've done everything. And I even sit there on the court, self-affirmation is powerful. And I've been doing it for a long time. But even when I'm on the court, there's like 2 minutes before the game, I already looked at myself when I'm getting stretched on the court and go like, I've done everything possible to beat this man. And there's no way in the world this man's going to come out here and show he's better than me. I've done all the work. I just got to go out here and simply just have fun showing the world that I put the work in. So
this might sound counterintuitive, but with how good the Knicks fans are, how I think it's the greatest fan base in sports. I mean, they're like, for better or for worse, like with how good they are, is it more important to have the perspective? Because you basically are like, and you saw this, and I wanted to ask your perspective in general. We're now 13 months out from the trade, and Minnesota's a great fan base too. So it's not like it's night and day.
It's been 13
but
months.
You've walked into a place that is different than I would say anywhere else in the NBA, maybe anywhere else in sports in terms of, and he knows this, he's flying all over
I
the
was
country.
laughing. I'm remembering the moment that the trade happened.
Oh God.
Because I was with my wife and my son.
I will never forget. Where were you? I was at the house. I was at my house in Minnesota. It was crazy. I had seen everybody. I had worked out Friday morning at the practice facility. And even my friend was, Cam was there. Right. He was there. Everyone was there. So it was with me. And then even my friend was playing point guard for the workout at the practice facility. And I was just remembering when we got back from the practice facility, and I was like, man, fellas, we got to enjoy this moment. Jordan's in Paris Fashion Week. And I'm like, man, fellas, we got to enjoy this moment because it's going to be the last calm Friday before, the season's over. And I was like, we got to enjoy this last calm Friday, calm day before, Monday's media day. It's already Friday afternoon. Like, we got to enjoy these last moments of calm. I didn't know I thought I would have till Sunday at least, but I had about 5 hours before, I'm getting a call that, Tim wanted to come to the house to drop something off. And I was just like, well, we'll just drop it off on Sunday. We have team dinner anyway. And he was like very adamant that he wanted to come see me at the house. And I was just like, all right, yeah, come. He came over. I would never forget, 8:30. Funny enough, number one pick was playing Cam Ward versus Virginia Tech. And he came over to the house, walked in the house with my dad and everyone there. And right away, first words was like, you're starting your modeling career in New York. I was like, what? I thought it was a joke. So I
awesome.
laughed about it. And he was kind of like looking at me like, this ain't a joke. And I told him, say that again. Say what you chest. I want to make sure I heard this correctly. He's like, yeah, man, we traded you to New York. And I remember my dad said, what? My friend walks out the room like, hey, everyone's shocked. I'm shocked. And yeah.
I mean, what went through your head?
I'm still stunned. But yeah. I was just, you had such a career in Minnesota. We just came off making the Western Conference Finals. I've been blessed to be with Minnesota in the bad times and the great times. And now we're at the great times. And, your Timberwolves tenure just gets cut out of nowhere. Unexpectedly. Yeah. No one in the NBA heard a murmur, a whisper, a murmur. No one had an idea. No one had a clue. And next thing you know, it's like, we just had a whole meeting about doing workouts, me and Ant together. And the assistant coaches were very much like, we were going to do this. We're going to do this. Maybe tomorrow we come in and work on Saturday. Like no one has an idea. Right. So,
man,
it was so wild that, you're just in shock because it's like, there's just no way your tenure ends that abruptly. It just is over. It's just done. And, I've obviously never been traded before, so I didn't know how to that reaction is. And I know I've heard so many stories, and it's crazy because I've been in Minnesota and I've had a bunch of teammates, a ton of teammates, and a lot of new faces I see every year. And, and seeing people get traded during the year and stuff, it's always so tough. And you're just like, I never want to be in that position. And then all of a sudden you're in the position now, let alone Monday's media day for teams. Sunday is usually your team dinner. And it's Friday at 8:30.
You're like, I'm headed.
You literally.
Where were you?
I was at home in Westchester watching a movie or something. It was like night, right? It was at night.
It was at 8:30. It dropped at 8.
Yeah. I was watching a movie with my son and my wife, in our living room, whatever. And I was like, oh shit.
I was stunned. You should imagine how I looked and at him and said, there's no way you're saying this correctly, that this is true. And it's like
that's such a funny way for him to tell you it, though. That is
it's a better story. It's a great story. It could get better too. And
I remember thinking, as a fan, I was thinking, oh God, that's got to be really, if this is something that he didn't know about, which I assumed, I'm thinking, God, that's got to be weird for him. I'm thinking,
you just saw me all week.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. And I'm just thinking, I hope he wants to come to New York, but of course he's not. If he doesn't know, that must be just. Of course he's going to love his team.
Yeah.
And you want somebody who wants. And then so I remember the first day, the media day with the Knicks, or whatever it was when you came.
They couldn't even mention my name.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. They couldn't talk about it. But then when you first came.
Yeah.
I remember just literally going gosh, I hope he and Jalen get along. I hope he
no. Yeah. And I was stunned because I was just even when I got to New York, I was just kind of there's no way this has happened, dude. And then on top of that, the trade never got finalized. So now they're having training camp, and we can't even be in the same room. Right. We can't even be in the site. We can't be around each other, nothing. So I'm just a imaginary person there that's not there.
Yeah.
I'm actually really curious your perspective on this. We did an ep a couple of weeks ago with Flea in LA, and he told a story about the Luka trade, and I
told Flea about the Luka trade.
Ben told Flea about the Luka trade, and he freaked out because he's the biggest.
And by the way, I hadn't seen Flea in 25 years.
Yeah,
he was I literally, and I was at some party in LA, and it had just happened, and I knew he was a huge Lakers fan.
So he freaks out. He's falling on the floor. Did all sorts of stuff. I think my question for you now, having lived through this, because there's the player / people who work for a team perspective, and then there's the fan perspective. There's everyone else.
Yeah.
When these things happen, you were an example of this. That one was an example of this. There's a few every year, obviously. When these things happen, people go nuts almost to the point that it's a bigger deal than a playoff win. It's a thing that just causes.
It's news.
Has your perspective now changed for when it happens to other people because you've lived through it? Or are you still just kind of I
already respected the players that have to get traded and go to a new team and make it work immediately. Like, you know, especially middle of the year, you know, people got kids and stuff. Imagine having to tell your kids they can't see their friends anymore. We got to go. That's tough. And, you know, and isn't it crazy? Both big trades, the Knicks are involved.
Yeah.
And the Knicks trade for me and shock the world. Luka gets traded after the Lakers came here and whooped our ass. 100%. That's right. I was like, we played so bad. We had to get rid of people. It's like a horror movie. It's just what?
Yeah.
And
that's right.
And I just it's just a different respect. It's just different respect too, because you know it's different. It's just like having having a parent die or anything. It's just a different. You just don't understand it until you've
experienced it.
Yeah, and you're experienced it, because experience teaches all. And you know, I had a beautiful house that has 9 years of memories, and then it has all these amazing artifacts of my career and friends of mine throughout the years and my family. And you're told it's 8:59 p.m. You're like, hey, man, you got 12 hours to go pack up and go to New York. You're like, wait, what? And then you have no place to live.
Right.
And you're now used to being in a big house with a lot of space and your own life, to now you're like locked in a hotel room.
And it's also New York.
In New York. Like, you're like, I don't know what's going on. Next thing you know, you're trying to figure out how could I, you know, and I got big ass feet. So it's like, I can't just bring a whole closet of shoes that I have over, you know? So now you're trying to figure out maybe 6 pairs of shoes that can make it work with a bunch of outfits.
Which shoes to bring.
And then I'm trying to figure it all out. And then you got to get a fits. And then you're like, well, we're going to Charleston too. So now you have to have it packed to go to Charleston.
The climate.
It's just like everything was just messed up. So I was kind of like, and then I have no time after to just fly back after training camp to go get my stuff settled and then come back with more stuff, because I don't even have a place to live. Yeah. Now you know you're in New York. There's no home.
Right.
So it's like you got to be very selective about the amount of space you're using with clothes and closet space. So
living in New York, space is at a premium.
Oh my goodness! I was just like, this is wild. But
and then you got to perform. Then you got to
exactly. Oh, no training camp for you either, because the trade is not finalized, so you don't get to learn anything, be around the players, the coaches, nothing.
Right.
You just have to kind of live by yourself.
All of your favorite NBA players are back. And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Here's what's up. As a new customer, you can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. And you'll also get 3 months of NBA League Pass completely on them. That means you can catch every crossover, every buzzer beater, and every highlight reel play while having some skin in the game. Richie, I was looking at the player futures on the plane today for regular season points. Shea plus 140 leading the pack. Giannis plus 180. Luka plus 800, which feels like a freaking great deal. Ant plus 1700, which is also very interesting. Jokic plus 1800. Joel plus 2000. Devin Booker plus 2200. Cade plus 3000. Jaylen Brown plus 6000. Jalen Brunson plus 6000. I am looking at that Luka Ant duo. There's 2 options I would be very curious about. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code YOUNGMAN. That's code YOUNGMAN. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Was Game 4 of the Detroit series for your on the court highlight, you feel like?
My
like your
that was a
highlight.
Moment. I think it was a highlight. of my year last year. That was really cool. That turnaround jumper,
huge,
pretty.
That was wild. That was wild because I don't work on that shot very often.
There was about a 35-second stretch where you just
that and then the step back three.
It was incredible.
Shout out to OG. He threw me the ball, man. I felt like Ron Artest. He threw me the ball. I got the ball. I was like, oh shit. So I was just like, I think that moment was cool because I was hearing the talking from the crowd. And
no, I was there. That crowd.
Oh, they shut the hell up quick.
Oh, it was so great. It was so great because, and all I thought being there in real life was like, this crowd is so loud that the Knicks have got to get ahead early, or they have to stay ahead.
Yes.
To keep to keep the crowd out of it.
That step back right.
Oh my God!
When I hit that three. First of all, in my brain, that was just work. That's the work that I talk about. You put the work in, and it doesn't feel like pressure. I shot the shot when the ball left my hand. Subconsciously, my brain and me are having a conversation. I'm like, why the hell did I just shoot that? That is not a good shot. I'm watching the ball fly in the air, and I'm like, man, I think it's short. And it goes swish, and I'm like, oh, we're living with this. This is a good shot now. And I look back at everyone, and I just knew how much talk the fans was, the shit talking the fans was doing. And I remember it was so quiet in there.
Quiet.
And
were they on you?
Knicks fans going,
were the fans?
Oh, yeah.
I remember you in trouble getting the tickets, even the tickets.
I just remember going like, I just went nuclear because I just remember looking. It felt like me in Toronto when I hit that shot, when I just started looking at all the fans I had been keeping track of in the game, talking shit. And I immediately went to talking shit to everyone down the line.
There was like one kid, I think it was like the owner's son or something, that was getting under my skin at all those Detroit games. Anyway.
But shout out to Detroit though. Yeah. That fans like, those fans showed up and showed out for their
They were great.
team.
Everybody was cool with us. It was like felt like you were in the belly of the beast, but everybody was all right.
But that's how you want it, though. I have a lot of respect for fans that stay dedicated to their teams and they cheer for their team as loud as possible and cheer loudly and proudly for their team. I actually got a lot of respect. It makes the games funner, makes the atmosphere funner. I think that anyone who is a Knicks fan, Detroit fan, obviously Detroit fans didn't get the result they wanted, but I feel everyone left there with such a respect for each other and a respect for the game of basketball.
Series. Yeah, it was a really fun series.
I felt that was the closest we got to like old school like basketball, like 2000s, 90s basketball. It was so physical. The whole series was physical, and I appreciate that the refs let it play out that way too, because they walked in with like allowing us to have that kind of series.
What was your favorite moment flying all over the place?
I mean, I didn't love. We went to the Indiana. That wasn't fun.
We delete that one.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment was when we took out the Celtics.
Game 6. I was about to say that. I feel like that's every Knicks
the
fan's
most
favorite.
Fun I've had in a long time being there.
That the crowd, the energy around the building was just contagious. It was so crazy.
It was insane. It was such a pent up all these years, and it was just such a great feel. And of course, it sucked with Jason Tatum. But at the very end of the game, but it really felt like we earned it, and we were,
we definitely earned it. I mean, I'm
saying we, by the way.
We earned it. No. You, all of New York, every fan. That was a we win.
I think
the city won that game.
Ben and Timmy both they were getting on planes going everywhere. You were literally not missing anywhere.
We were riding it. It was like, come on, this is like the last 2-3 years, especially last year, is like, come on, it's been like nothing else. Yeah,
And I feel like it was. But you know what? Like I had talked to Timmy about this. I said, man, I've been very fortunate in the last 2 years of my career that in Minnesota, they haven't seen the Western Conference Finals in, I think, 20 years, 21. And then we got there. You got to enjoy these moments. You never know what life has for any of us. Stay in the present. Right. Enjoy the present, because the future is not guaranteed and the past has already been taken care of by the present. So, we can't change it. And when we won last year, that's 25 years. I'm like, man, we supposed to enjoy this with the fans, because you never know what God has for any of us in the future. But the present's here, and this is a guaranteed that we have a moment that 25 years New York has never seen. Yeah. We should be living it up. We should be enjoying it. Everybody, every fan, every player, they should be together in this, because God we don't know what is going to happen, but I could guarantee you that the New York Knicks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
like guaranteed.
right.
I'll also say those first two comebacks in the Boston series, just
God.
the way that it happened back to back.
Incredible.
We had done that so much in our run last year that it was we were asking for bad juju with 20-point leads. And when we got a 20-point lead, we decided to let Indiana play us and do what we do so well. That was a tough one. Game one was tough.
That was tough because I was there for that too. And
I felt like there's no reason anyone should hit a shot like that at MSG. That should be like illegal.
No, and like
we
happened to be like right under the celebration. It was one time I really did not want to have the courtside seat because I was like making eye contact with Miles Turner, and I was like, "This is too weird. They're about to fall on top of us." And I don't want to be here right now.
I just remember coming out in overtime, and I was just like, all right, like if I get a good look at a shot, I'm taking it immediately because I want to put the energy back on our side and let our fans bring the momentum back to us, get a good early make, bring the fans back to bring the fans back into the game, bring the momentum back to our side. I was fortunate to get that. I think it was baseline low jab set midi. Yep. And I thought it was good, but you could just see that in their eye that they were like, there's a chance and we have a chance to leave here with one.
It was crazy. They were
It was insane. It was insane. That changed everything.
Yeah.
That changed everything.
That was a tough one. I just can't believe that shot went so high in the air and went in. No way.
It's also the Neesmith before all that. It's like, I mean, we talked about that with Spike a couple weeks ago. I mean, at a certain point when he hits 6 shots like that in a row in a 90-second stretch, there were 5 of them were really well defended.
Yeah.
Like, tip your hat.
I mean, yeah, but no.
What do you think now that you've had a year of it and are about to go into year 2 makes the Garden specifically so different?
I mean, let me put it like this. Minnesota was so great to me and the fans were amazing. They showed so much love and I'm forever grateful for them. But it's the Garden. I grew up in this area and I know what it is. But now when you're like, you play at the Garden and you go to the Garden and you're really part of that ecosystem of going to Knicks games, or fortunate for me being part of the Knicks games. I could be, even in the summer after that terrible loss, like if you bring up the Garden, it's like I could hear the cheers in my ear without being there. I could be on a beach and I could like literally hear the cheers in my ears, hear the fans. I get like goosebumps just thinking about the Garden, like a place that could just make goosebumps happen for you without even being there.
Did you go when you were a kid?
No.
Never?
Okay. Never could afford it. Wow. Never could afford it.
And were you so like you were born what, 95?
Yeah.
So like 95. were you a Knicks fan?
I was, because they gave my dad his first chance at the NBA and only chance.
Oh really?
Yeah. He broke his ankle. I think it was like the end of the training camp squad.
Wow.
Oh my God. Summer league guys that, the summer league, they bring him in and stuff like that. He was one of those dudes and he broke his ankle and his career was over. But the Knicks gave him his chance.
Right.
So I was always forever grateful to the Knicks because, every son wants to be like their fathers. So
yep. Your dad seems great, by the way. He's at every game.
Such a big personality.
Oh, he's a huge personality.
He's like the mayor of MSG.
He really is. And God forbid when the t-shirt time comes around, that's the man right there, bro. You need a t-shirt. You need to be good friends with him. I'm trying to tell you. He put me in a position to live this dream. And I think what's even more special about this, my grandmother being to see me after all these years, haven't been able to see me because she's here with my mom's side. Mm-hmm. My mom's mom, to be able to see me in New York is and playing more is awesome because she wasn't gonna make those flights a lot to Minnesota and stuff. But like I said, my dad broke his ankle when he had his chance for the NBA. Now he finally gets to see that Towns jersey.
Yeah,
on the back of a Knicks jersey.
As a parent, I have a couple of kids who are doing their thing. Like when your kids are happy and doing their thing, and having success, it's
you
like there's
more
no
fun
other
than
feeling.
that with yours. Yeah, it just becomes it's like I feel like that's how it always is, though. I mean, my dad, I feel like I have kind of that like fatherly instinct in me, but I love when I see my teammates like being with Ant, and just seeing Ant, grow and become the player that he is today, and being able to help him as a big brother in this journey, and always, doing my best to racing through this league. It's amazing to see where he's at. I get so proud when I see him doing well. I have my driver pass by a lot, the Adidas store, just so I can see the Anthony Edwards sign on the thing. Because I feel like a proud big brother, to see him.
What do you think makes him so special?
His want, his mind. I think his charisma and stuff is what gets people to lean in to hear what he has to say. But I think it's his want to be great that keeps people in his ecosystem. Yeah. I think, it's one thing to attract fans. It's one thing to keep fans. And he's doing that through his play. His play is what's keeping fans there, and his charisma and who he is what makes fans give him a chance just to watch him, do his art.
It's also, he was really good in hustle.
He really was.
He was.
But he was himself. So it was even better.
He's one of the most charismatic, not even hyperbole. He's one of the most charismatic people you will ever meet.
For
just
sure.
Naturally.
For sure. He has a swag to him. And I since day one, I always told him that, while I'm there with him, I always want him to be himself, because I understand how it is to have people wanting to rip away your aura, your swag, your personality, so it can match what they think is success or what they think is cool. And I never wanted him to be in that situation. Learn from me. So I was always like, as long as I'm here and I'm stepping through these doors in Minnesota, I want you to always make sure that you're yourself to a fault. I want you to be yourself as much as possible. And if anything goes wrong, I'll take the blame, because your vet should have been the one to teach you better. So have no pressure on that, and just be you and enjoy being who you are. And, I'll always be here for you. And I know he knows I've always kept my promise on that.
With your dad, is that, we've all seen that Rick Brunson and Jalen video. Mm-hmm. Was that the kind of relationship you had with your dad when was he teaching you like that? And that sort of like tough love thing of like,
I don't know if it was really tough love, because I wanted to do the work. So I felt my dad never got to a point where it was like he had to ask me. I was asking him to go to the gym. I was asking him to be in the gym for long hours. Like, I was asking for that kind of time. And
from what age?
Since I was young. How young? I've been with my dad. My dad was a high school coach, so I was with him every single day in the high school season since I can remember.
But when you're 7, 8, 9,
even younger, I would just be there watching. If I couldn't play, I would just watch, and then he would have one of the freshman guys just rebound and have me throw the ball consistently at the rim, and I would just keep going and throwing.
Really, he just had a freshman rebounding for his 7-year-old.
Literally. So I just was always that, and then he always had a way to implement me into the practice, whether it was Avery and Charles Edwards and everyone from Piscataway Tech will remember this story, but they would finish practice. My dad loved to run and have the hard practices, and he'd be like, "All right, Carl, you go up there, you make a free throw, practice is done, everyone gets to go home. But if you miss, they run."
Oh my God.
And that's how I learned. I was like, it's okay to have the weight of the world on your shoulders.
This is when he shoots 45%.
I was like,
that's crazy.
That's literally how it went. Every time I see his former players, they bring up those stories. He was like, "Them days you would miss, I'd be mad as hell." So that's how I just learned. It was good practice in pressure situations. And then as I got older and older, I understood the magnitude of what I was doing, but it felt so second nature to me just to go up there and make the shot, because it stopped being pressure. It's just go make the shot. Go up there and make the shot. That's simple.
So we were talking about this before you got here. So Ben shot a documentary about his parents. It's coming out.
Yes.
It's coming out next week on Apple. I'm curious your perspective. Do you have a story like this that you kind of learned in the process of making the doc in terms of something similar?
I mean, it's such a different kind of relationship with my dad and mom, because my dad was not the guy. That's why, because I remember watching the Rick and Jalen thing. I'm like, God, that was so not my dad's thing, but yet it probably so contributed to him being able to have that, that discipline and be able to do it. My dad was much more, he was very supportive, but it wasn't like, he was like actually getting into doing stuff together that he was teaching me, but it was through example. Like, I just watched his work ethic. And my mom too. And they would work together because they were a comedy team and they had to write their sketches together and they'd work together in the house. And I just see, it was just his whole life. It was his whole life. And you talk about being your whole life and then having healthy sort of thing of being able to separate from that.
Yeah.
That's always been, challenging for me, honestly, like in life, to figure out how to like disconnect from the creative process and all that and just enjoy life separately. And I think I've gotten to that as I gotten older. Yeah. It's amazing, like at your young age, that you could, really figure that out, and kind of probably had to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think for you, you have you're in a profession that I think as time goes on, you get to continue to make amazing works like you already are. And there's longevity. I'm in a business where you better have it figured out pretty damn quick, because you only get a certain amount of time to do this. And it forces you to grow up very much in a much quicker standpoint, especially in your profession. And it
really is totally different than
it's
anything
wild.
else.
Yeah, I talked about this I was on the Joe and Jada podcast, and shout out to them. I was talking to Jordan about this, and we were just having a natural nighttime conversation. So he's picking my brain, and I was just like, I think that in a way, there's 3 ways you make it in sports. For me, I've seen either you have to have the work ethic, you have to have the talent, or you have to get lucky. I said those are the 3 things that usually you hang your hat on. And I said, for me, I think I was lucky because I had 2. I had the God-given height, but I got the luck. The luck was my gift.
What was the luck, though?
The luck was my gift of having a dad who was a high school coach. Because of luck be had, I didn't have the money to continue to rent a gym or go work at a gym. But what I did have was a dad who had a key to a fully beautiful wooden court high school gym that I had free access to go use at all the time and work on my game and my craft, which made my talent. I did get, and then luck be at it. My mom's 5'10", my dad's 6'5", and I became 7-footer. Like,
right.
I know that's tall to everyone. I'm not saying that, but 7 feet still doesn't kind of equate in that equation. Yeah. So I got lucky, and always being tall. So I never felt like I didn't know I was going to be tall. I always knew I was going to be tall. My dad had a certain mindset for me where younger taught me how to be a guard first, and then taught me how to be a big last. And because I had a gym, I had no time, I didn't have to book a gym, I just went to the gym. I had that time and luck to work on being a guard for 2 hours, take a break. All right, let's go back and do another 1.5 hours of 2 hours of big man work. I didn't have a timestamp. I didn't have to not go. I could wake up on a Saturday morning and be like, oh, I don't want to shoot at the park. I want to shoot in the gym. Dad, can you take me? And I had a dad that was willing to do that and was more than happy as a basketball player to hear your son wants to play basketball. I mean, probably was the happiest thing he could hear. So I got lucky. I think that's, I know everyone sees me now and playing and stuff, and they're like, whoa, it's talent or it's like a God-given height. And it is. I think those are 2 things. Talent,
well, the shooting ability too that you have is incredible. And I don't understand, like, what do you think that, like, how much of that is obviously the work and the repetition? And this is like a question like people ask, like, okay, can you be funny? Like, are you, can you learn to be funny right now? Like, or like, can a person learn to be funny or not? As a shooter, is it something you either have or you don't have?
I think it could be, I think it's a double-edged sword, because some people are just naturally eye-hand coordination and just got a knack for it. But still, at the end of the day, it comes down to reps. Because you could, as a basketball fan, you would know, how many people can you tell me have beautiful shooting mechanics and shooting strokes, but can't shoot the ball?
It's also at the scale that you do it. Too. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's
why I said I think the talent. You get those 3 things. Some people are just God-given talent. Some people got a God-given just traits that you just can't teach. And then there's people who are just lucky, and you could be in all 3 of those buckets. Usually, you get 2 if you're like an NBA. I feel like sometimes if you go to college or NBA, high school varsity team, you got 1 of them.
Right.
And I just got lucky. I got lucky. I had a gym that made the talent, and I had a gym. I count myself being in the lucky bucket the most, because I got the talent from having the luck of having the gym, and I was able to use my God-given traits because of the gym to build my talent.
Right.
So
and you had a desire to do it.
Yes.
Right? You had an inner. Yeah. Because I think that's like that's a huge part of it too. It's just the inner, like your passion, for whatever you do. It's like, it's got to come from inside. Because being a basketball player, being an actor, whatever, it's like all of it's like challenging.
Yeah.
And you got to love doing it no matter what, if you really want to do it well, because there's so many ups and downs.
There is. And then there's ebbs and flows and everything. And I was telling Jordan the same thing. And this podcast is awesome. We get to talk. So I was telling Jordan, I said, I don't know what it was when I was younger. I don't know what the dream I had. I thought big, and I decided to work in that aspect, that I needed to work hard and work that big to get to where I wanted to be today. I don't know what it was when I was younger. I had a dad that definitely was like, saw the vision and was like going to push me in any way to get to that point. But I was just willing to give my childhood up for the chance of living in this dream. And I did it. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it because it got me here. And at the end of the day, you could be mad. Maybe I wish I would have went to that party or that birthday party or this event or whatever. But I asked for this. I made a deal with myself. Young, very young. Like, that's
the thing that kind of blows my mind a little too. Because when I think about my 10-year-old self, I wanted to be a director and do, and I did, like, I committed myself to it. But the time frame is just totally. It's like, I'm a kid. You're a kid. To have that, sense of yourself, to know, okay, I'm actually going to do this and go for it, and the discipline and all of it at that young age is something.
I made that deal. I made that deal with God and myself as young as I can remember. I remember making that deal like in first grade.
Did you ever imagine that it might not work out?
You know what? I think what helped me was I tempered my expectations young, where I really was only thinking about getting a college scholarship to Rutgers. That was it. That was like all I wanted. I just wanted that D1. I just wanted a college scholarship. D1 is great. Like, I just wanted a college scholarship. And I remember in second grade, I was already like on the cover of Scholastic News. And, back in the day, that was the thing to have in the classroom. Cool. There was two things that was the thing. When I was in Jersey, it was like the 2 days that were the best was when the Scholastic News came to the school and this teacher was like, we're going to read this together. And 2 was when they rolled the damn TV in and said, we're going to watch a movie. So that was the 2 best days. And I was crazy that I already had like a whole story, a cover of it. And then, you're in school and everyone's reading this Scholastic News kids. And I'm like, yo, this is like, it's a lot of pressure being young, but it was like also too, I was fortunate, it takes a village to have success. And I had a great family. I had great support system. I had great friends. And when I was young, who didn't even realize they were helping me. And now we're older and I look back and thank them from my heart. And, it was one of those moments. I just made a deal. I wanted to go for it. I knew basketball was my sport. People had saw the vision of me being really good at it already. And I never had the NBA expectations. They wanted to call me a prodigy and stuff like that. I never really, I didn't even think prodigy as an NBA player. I thought prodigy as in, I may be able to go to Rutgers. I get to go D1, college basketball, hometown. That's a win. That's a win in life. That's especially for people in my neighborhood that, we only really had one NBA player, and that was Derek Character. So for the Lakers. So it's not something we ever talk about. No one in the area really makes an actual reality.
It's too bad for Rutgers. It didn't end up happening to them.
They were in my top five.
Do you feel like with we always talk about with Ben in particular, it's like the phrase I get back to is like a 5-tool player in entertainment, because he does everything.
I think the whole world knows.
Comedy, drama, act, direct. It's not like you just are like, I'm just the best actor, I'm the best comic actor, the best dramatic actor. Do you feel like this drive has led you, even with the doc? I mean, not even with the soda, but in the entertainment stuff in particular, it leads you to push yourself in this way rather than just be like, I'm just going to do this thing that I know I can do really well consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been for me, like a journey of figuring it out, because I think I went off instinct when I was younger. I just knew I wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I knew I loved it, but I didn't know what I even wanted to say necessarily. And also, I grew up around it, so it was everything. That's kind of what the documentary is about growing up around parents who lived and breathed acting and show business and all of it. And it just became like part of our lives. And from a very young age, the one thing I would say similarly, so I had a sense from a very young age, I knew I wanted to do it. Yeah. But I don't think I would have had enough of a sense of myself to really understand like some sort of a plan or anything, other than I was figuring it out as I went along. And that's something I've learned as I gotten older, is to not really even question necessarily like what my why. If I feel like, though, if I have a gut feeling about something that I'm attracted to, that, a subject matter or an idea, that's something that I want to see or I want to somehow express, I just kind of try to go with that. So it's evolved as I've gotten older, because I think also opportunities came to me that I didn't think would come to me too, in terms of acting in movies and stuff, because I always did want to be a director. Mm-hmm. And I did not think that the acting part of it would be what sort of like, was led everything, and the comedy part of it too, because I also had this thing where my parents were in comedy. And
so you didn't want to be in comedy?
Yeah, I was like, no.
I felt like that's what, it's so funny, because like, growing up, that's all I known you for.
No, that's the irony of it, really, is like, and it's in the documentary. There's like an interview with my parents when I'm 10 years old or like 8 years old, saying like, I don't want to do comedies. I just want to do serious movies. And, the reality is it was in my blood. It was in my, it was part of who I am. But I've also always wanted to do a lot of different things. And that's been, for me, the fun of evolving, I guess, as I've gotten older, is like to really like get, more in touch with like, well, what's really going to make me happy? Because you do get into a system where you're doing things where then people are expecting something of you. Mm. And I would imagine that, something you can understand too. It's like, it's just like people want you to be one thing. And it's like, well, you have to look and go like, what do I really want to do? What's going to make me happy? And what do I want to create? And I'm lucky enough to be, in a position where I can explore that stuff. And I can go, okay, this is, I can do comedy stuff, but like, I really want to make this little movie here, and I'm going to do that for a while. And luckily, I feel like that hasn't ever gone away. The desire to like figure out what's the next thing, because I'm, creatively, I want to push myself and do things I haven't done, because that's exciting and fun and, interesting. And it's kind of exciting to go into an area where you don't feel sure of yourself. Whether it's like a soda company or Severance, even. It's like Severance was like a genre I hadn't really done before. Yeah. But I loved when
you fooled me.
Yeah, well, as long as I can keep fooling everybody. That's, by the way, that's how I feel like I'm fooling everybody, because you get away with it. It's like, oh, I did that, and it's like, this is kind of the way I see it. Will people buy this? Oh yeah, they will. And that is a great feeling. Going back to what you were saying early on, like, it's an amazing feeling for me, Severance, that people love Severance, and to be a part of that, because it's a different thing than over the years of all the comedy and all that, which has been great. But then like to be, have something else you do that people are going, hey, I like that too, is a great thing.
Did you feel like Dannemora caused a lot of that as well?
That for me personally, that series was a turning point, because it was the first thing I directed that I wasn't in. And it was this drama, this prison escape story. And it was like just a straight out drama. And it was with Benicio del Toro and Patricia Arquette and Paul Dano, these great actors. And I was like having so much fun as a director, finally, not really, because over the years I just directed and acted in a lot of the movies I made. And it was like first time I was like, I don't have to get in front of the camera really and do this. And there's a thing in drama too where you don't have to be funny. It's like for comedy people, it's a relief that you're not expected to. It's like,
it felt like always the requirement for you to do something.
Yeah. It's like kind of like, if you tell people you're going to, they're going to see a comedy, they want to laugh. Yeah. And if they don't laugh, then they feel like then it wasn't that funny, and that's not what I wanted, So it's an expectation. Drama is a little bit more subjective. You can kind of like, I liked it, I didn't like it, whatever, that pulled me in. You still have to maintain an audience's interest and all that, but so in a way, sometimes it feels like cheating a little bit as a comedy person when you're doing drama, because you know that you don't have that pressure of having to be funny, because you know how hard that can be.
We were talking earlier today about the sort of the compare and contrast about managing like a locker room versus a set. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's whether you're coach, player, whatever it may be, it's like you're managing ego, you're managing expectations. Yeah. But the skills that you pick up along the way of doing that and being able to get the best out of your peers while also having to like not everyone's playing 40 minutes a night.
Yeah. I mean that I think even, you have kids and you're a fan of sports. It's just sports teaches you a lot more than just wins and losses. It teaches you like ways of living, how to be a better person, how to manage expectations, how to manage, relationships. And it teaches you a lot of life lessons that, that go off the field, go off the court, off the pitch, it teaches you a bunch. So I naturally just learned how to navigate a room and manage relationships, egos, personalities, where that you could get the best out of everybody for the greater of the team. And that's just the same way for him as a director. I can imagine that over years of experience and having dealt with so many different people, you've learned this works better with people of this stature and this works with people of this stature. And then this is how you mesh those people together to make a amazing project and art.
Right. Get the best out of everybody. Like, so you're saying like with a rookie where you say like, hey, like you're giving him the confidence to say like, do your thing.
And don't be stressed.
Right.
There's no reason to be stressed.
But that's huge, right? Yeah. That's huge for you to be able to give that to someone.
Communicate to him.
Yeah. You being who you are. And I think like understanding, even if you sometimes don't think of yourself like, on a set, it's like, all right, well, it's my job as the director or the person who maybe has the most experience here to like really try to get the best out of everybody and make that person who's coming in to do their one scene in the movie feel confident and feel like so that they can relax as much as possible and that's a really important thing, I think, that is part of, I was thinking about, you're talking about this idea of like a set and working like on a movie set, because I'm working on a movie right now. And a movie set is like there's a lot of people around and people are doing their jobs or whatever. But as an actor, you're working in that moment, but like, your agent could be coming to visit you or you're coming to visit the set or whatever. And it seems like an open environment. And it reminded me a little bit of like, well, maybe like what it's like to be playing a game at Madison Square Garden, because you're doing your job. This is like what it comes down to. It's like you have to perform in that game, but then you got everybody in this court. And you're saying hi to everybody, and there's this like relaxed vibe or whatever interaction thing. But you're at work. You are in the most important time of your day is to win that game. Yeah. But yet you have to figure out how to like exist in that environment.
Yes.
And I'm always surprised because like you're always friendly and loose, whatever, and you're interacting with a crazy fan or people, but it's still like an incredibly intense, specific thing that you're having to do in that environment.
Yeah, no, it's talking to you. You understand. It's just like as an actor, actress, it's like you turn it on. It's just like, being able to see something. Oh, how you doing? Immediately get straight faced, inbound the ball, get ready to go score a basket. Like it's just work. Yeah. It's work. It is work, and you appreciate it.
But when you have to when you have to like go, I can't do that right now. I got to do this.
Oh yeah. I mean, and where my dad and Jordan sit, and I half the time my dad and Jordan will try to tell me sit on their chair, and I have no idea what anyone has said. I have no idea. I'm tuned out. Like when I'm on that court, it really feels like we could have, you have Ben Stiller, Timothy. Jordan gives me the most little Jordan, my dad, because I know those are like they give me the most pressure. I've seen my people.
Of course, you want to do well. For them. Yeah,
and then you're seeing whoever it may be, Benito or Denzel Washington, and all these amazing people. I truly don't see anybody. When I'm on the court, I really feel like there's nobody in the crowd, and I feel like I just hear, the big shot goes in and stuff. I hear the crowd. I tune them so out. It feels like it's empty in there at MSG. And then, I had those moments where you see me hyping up the crowd and getting the crowd involved into it. I feel like they just appear like it's like a drape is getting opened up and I'm starting to see people's faces and their cheer and their excitement and the emotion they show. And it's like, I have that moment, I'm doing this and everyone's going crazy. And it's like, I walk back to the bench, I get in that huddle with our guys. They make that little wall, when coach is talking, and I go back to the table, I get my chalk, I get, wipe my shoes, and I walk back on that court and it feels like the drape's closed. And I don't see nobody. And it's just me again with MSG, with the 5 guys on that side and 5 guys on this side. And we just playing. It's like
until the next moment it opens
that,
up.
That moment, the moment opens
yeah.
up the drapes, and that's how I always felt. Like I even Jordan will tell you, I just don't see nobody. I don't hear things. I don't hear nothing.
Well, imagine you have to have this.
You kind of lose yourself. You lose yourself in the game.
But for us, it's like we don't understand it because we're watching. We're all in the same space, this open space, but yet you're doing that as it happens, and you have to figure. I don't know. It's fascinating to me.
It's just it's a true thing. It's just weird because it's like I even explain it to Jordan. It's like the same way of like imagine for me, and y'all know how I play basketball. I love going to the basket, jumping as high as possible, making things happen. I fall on the floor super hard, get up, run back, and I'm telling Jordan, I said the fact that in my mind, when I put a jersey on and those basketball shoes on, I'll jump as high as I physically can. Go sideways, make a layup, land on the floor super hard. Everyone's like, ooh, and then I get up and just start running. I said, but if I'm in this house right now and I trip and I fall on the floor, I may be hitting SOS on this iPhone right now. Life alert. I'm always questioning, watching Maury. I'm watching Maury and stuff early, and I'm like, man, that life alert looks better and better every day to put around your neck. That looks pretty impressive. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this naturally. And I said, I have to take better notes of this every time I lose myself in the game. And
yeah, it's something like that. I'm sure it's the adrenaline and all of it, but it's also like what you're expected to do.
Yes. I
think of that every time I watch a player drive the basket and fall. Yeah. And like, what does that really feel like?
Oh, it don't feel good.
And it happens like
a lot,
like almost half the time.
And we're not even talking about the, boxing out, getting a rebound, the physicality to get open.
Yeah, or playing defense.
The Pistons series. Yeah. Imagine how that was. You go for a layup, 2-hand push outside out of bounds.
Right.
You're just like, all right, cool. I'm like, man, if I get pushed right now outside this court, I'd probably be like, yo, call a medic. I just couldn't imagine. It's just so funny to think about. Like,
what do you feel after the game though? Like when you
Yeah. I think it's crazy, I think what really fans need to see, and maybe you'll direct it, it would be fun, is like the true adrenaline wearing off after a game. When it really wears off and you finally get to that dinner and you had that 40-point game and everyone bends still like, oh, that's crazy. And you get home and you're like, man, that was a great game. You sit down in a chair, you take your fit off and everything. You put your pajamas on, your shorts, whatever is your clothing of choice. And you sit down in that chair, food hits the table and everything turns off. And you're like, oh my God, why the hell did I not realize my body was hurting this much? My back is killing me. And you're just like, whoa, there's no way. And then I know people always say, you've probably heard it, oh, it's hard for me to turn it off after a game, to go to sleep. I think it's true, but I think there's that's a vague answer, because it could be that your body is barking so much from pain that you just can't go to sleep. Right. And you're just uncomfortable as anything, or
that's awful. Yeah.
Your brain is still running through those moments and the aggression and the adrenaline of the game that you just can't turn it off. So, I know a lot of us like playing video games to kind of keep the competitive, competitive spirit going, or the aggression going, or play cards, or, whatever the case is, because it keeps, in the competitive mode. Or you have to start watching TV. For me, it's always been, me and Landry Shaman will always watching. It's either we talk about Severance, or we're going to run through a new theory about Severance. Maybe there's a new reason why we have goat people.
He's also a photographer, too.
Yes, and he's a good one, too. I never even knew he had an Instagram page till this summer.
He's really good.
He's really, really good. He's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really, it's hard to imagine like how you then have to also get up the next day and then do it again. And like the schedule, the
at
NBA
a practice,
schedule. Or get on a plane.
Now you're doing this willingly with no adrenaline.
Get on a plane and play in a different city.
That's the worst.
You play that game, you get on a plane, you're in a different city.
How do you get it going for practice then when it's like that, when you're mid-season?
Really want. But for me, it's weird. I'm usually the first one there, so in the building. So practice will be like 11. I usually get there around like 6:45, even on after a game day too. And then I'll go there and I'll
6:45.
Yeah, do some treatment, lift, do another round of treatment. do vitamins on the court, which is just working out one-on-one with the coach and stuff like that. And then you have that whole practice. And then after that, do another treatment session. So,
and a routine, like a very steady routine.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the only way to get through a season is with routine. Like it's super tough. I think anything in life, you know, and I was talking to coaches about this in Abu Dhabi, you know, when you're an NBA coach, you're an NBA player, you become a routine, you become a creature of habit. You know, everything has to be this way. And you're wondering why players get a little thrown off when their shoe, you know, doesn't stay on, or it breaks in the game, or, you know, the game's at 7:30, but then the game has to be at 7:45, or there's the basket's messed up a little bit, so it ruins 2 minutes of your time because you become such a creature of habit that things need to go this exact way. So you feel the same. And if one little thing goes off, it messes up the whole flow of what you're used to. And it's a real thing. So for fans, I know that they're not getting that because they're like, oh, it's only 5 minutes, 10 minutes. What does that matter? Like, and it means a lot to us when you're so used to having your ritual be this or be that. And, you know, everyone has their own thing. And even for me, it's like, you know, those kind of 5-10 minute like delays, or, you know, you're going from Westchester to MSG and traffic's supposed to be about an hour and 45 and it ends up being 2 hours. Yeah. That 15 minutes makes you feel like your whole
if you have your thing that you need to be doing it.
Yes, it feels like everything's just off, you know, and it changes everything.
Pre-show routine. If you're like doing a play, it's the same thing.
Yes,
for sure. But it's
But I wanted to kind of close with what you guys are both looking forward to the most this season.
I mean, I'm so excited.
The
vibe seems so good.
Yeah.
And this new situation seems, I don't know. I'm curious to hear how you feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued to know if Mr. Milchick still has both eyes. Heliar and Marquez, I don't know how they're ever going to be an Audi. I don't know how the Audi's going to accept that one if they ever get there. And where the hell is Irving? So I'm excited for the next season. I'm excited for the next season. We're talking about different. Oh, you're talking about the basketball season.
I just said season.
You did. That's what I'm just. You asked me. You didn't ask me too specific. Oh, the Knicks season. That shit would be all right. That'd be cool.
Please focus on the Knicks.